Next topic that I always try to cover with parents, really beginning at the age of 8, all the way up and through that 8th grade year or 14-year-old age group, is the topic of strength, stretching, and sleep. And these are three pivotal roles with regard to growth athletically and development as far as all aspects of becoming a student athlete. And if we have listened, or you have listened to gentlemen like Eric Cressy or Tommy Moffitt, Ben Fairchild, the people that are within the strength training community, they always say age-appropriate strength training can begin at any time that children are having fun with it, meaning body weight exercises, things like sit-ups or push-ups, anything that relates to stretching early in the morning, before any type of athletic event. Learning how to develop the body at a young age, I think, is very, very important. And the vast majority of parents that are spending time and energy and resources with regard to youth sports neglect the strength component that it takes as your student athlete is growing up.
If I were a parent and my son asked me, Dad, can I play baseball? I wouldn't wait until he started puberty to allow him to play the sport. And so with our program, now we have in our program, the Moffitt Method, we have young men and young women as young as 9 and 10 years old who are performing body weight exercises, technique drills for sprinting and jumping and such. Weightlifting should begin somewhere around 12 years old, and focus on that technique and really make sure that they perform the exercises with light weights. The goal is absolutely has nothing to do with strength or power development. But what you want to do is create an atmosphere where that young man or that young lady develops an appreciation and a love for training, and they enjoy it, they have fun while working on that technique. So when that growth spurt starts taking place, now they're able to start putting a little bit of weight on the bar, and then they can see the fruits of their labor, and they gradually get strong so that they're ahead. So when they reach that plateau, between 18 and 21 years old, depending on what their genetics are, that they are going to be better, because, what we preach at our company is when you raise the floor, you raise the ceiling. So
Amen.
the sooner you start training, the higher your ceiling is going to be when you hit that plateau between 18 and 21 years old.
And so from the age of 8, it can be simply calisthenics and stretching prior to an event. It can be doing something at home. I always encourage parents, have a wall where you're able to mark off their height so that children can see themselves growing. They can feel themselves getting stronger or faster. Sprinting, the simplest form for younger athletes as far as getting better is learning how to sprint properly. And for parents that might not understand that, you're teaching your body how to be coordinated when you're running. Sprinting is actually strengthening your lower half, your core, things that are required as a throwing athlete. A lot of times we misunderstand. We think sprinting is just a direct correlation to base running, but in reality, it plays a really big role at that age, as well as when you get older as a student athlete, with regard to your strength training overall. The next thing is flexibility. So when we think about flexibility, we think about things such as making sure that our arm is prepared to compete, our legs are prepared to compete, our core. Those things, we want to prevent injuries by being proactive and being proactive with our stretching, our pliability. You can have parents, you can take a foam roller, you can take a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball and rub it on your arm or your legs or things of that nature to prepare your student athlete to get ready to compete. I think that's a very big role, and it plays a pivotal role for younger athletes to understand the priority of warming up properly and the benefit that that will have. The next thing that I want to let parents understand is coordination. You know, a lot of parents don't understand that children grow at different rates. And sometimes taller, younger athletes, they don't have that muscle memory quite down yet. And so making sure that you allow your children to kind of do those simple little drills, the sprint work, the high knee drills, playing catch consistently, it will teach your athlete to develop athletic coordination. And once you're beginning to build that core strength, you begin to get that mental kind of alertness, being prepared to, with regard to your warm-up, being prepared to compete. And once you have that confidence and you know that your body is physically ready to compete, it adds mental clarity. And so you sometimes parents misread. So a schedule might be a game at 10 a.m. and a parent will get there at 9:30. The athlete puts on their equipment. They're forced to run around and kind of join their team, and they don't have the time to warm up properly. Warming up properly from a body core temperature to your muscle groups, just getting your head prepared, your mind prepared to be in that competitive mindset will absolutely help with ability to perform. We don't take into account, as parents, the mental performance and the mental development for athletes is just as big of a deal as the physical. You must allow your younger student athletes to mentally prepare themselves for that spotlight of baseball. You know, whether they're a pitcher or a position player or in a batter's box, that spotlight takes some kind of mental preparation to build into.